बट मैं आपको बिल्कुल राइट बता रही हूँ, राइट? तो
Connect
ये
with
चीज,
connection is the most important thing, and that's
यस।
what we get as parents. But आप जो भी कह रहे हो, everything is exactly what I had thought कि आज ये सब बातें करेंगे. So it's really that you're so aware of
या
everything.
अभी पेरेंटिंग सेशंस मैं ले रही हूँ अभी। आई हैव बीन टेकिंग पेरेंटिंग सेशंस इन डिफरेंट स्कूल्स, क्योंकि मैं अभी प्रेजेंटली बैंक क्विट करने के बाद आई एम अ डायरेक्टर इन अ कॉलेज, इन अ बीएड कॉलेज, जहाँ पे हम लोग टीचर्स तैयार करते हैं। तो
Oh,
हम उसके हिसाब से थोड़ा सा पेरेंटिंग का है। उन बच्चों को कह दिया है कि आपकी मदर आइडियल मदर नहीं रही, लेकिन अभी हेल्प कर रही है बाकियों को, जो गलतियां मैंने करी हैं वो ना करें, काइंड ऑफ थिंग। तो अच्छा है, मैं सुनना चाहूंगी, आज कुछ नई इंसाइट्स मिलेंगी आपसे।
तो
थैंक
I
यू।
think सबसे पहली बात I think हमें ये समझ लेनी चाहिए that there is no ideal mother and there is no ideal father in this world. तो अगर हम ये मान ले कि हम आइडियल ना ना एज अ पेरेंट हम आइडियल ना थे ना हो सकते हैं, तो it's okay to accept that all parents will mess up their children, including us. We are here, we all do our best to the best of our knowledge or our understanding, but we all mess up children.
यस। और नेहा, अभी तो मैं बस बंद करूंगी अपनी कन्वर्सेशन, लेकिन एक चीज जो सबसे बिगेस्ट चीज जो मुझे लगता है, जो सबसे बिगेस्ट चीज लगती है जो पेरेंटिंग के अंदर हम लोग कर सकते हैं, आई डोंट नो आप इस सेशन को किस हाइट्स तक लेके जाएंगे, लेकिन मुझे अपने आप में ये चीज बहुत महसूस होती है कि हम अपने बच्चों को अपने कलर से मत देखने दें दुनिया को। ये सबसे बड़ा एक ड्रॉबैक है कि जब हम अपने फिल्टर्स के थ्रू उनको दुनिया दिखाने की कोशिश करते हैं, और इट इज अ काइंड ऑफ क्राइम, आई थिंक।
Yeah, so beautifully. And you're very right. It is a crime what we are doing to our children, all of us. So we are like, children are born perfect, and then we ruin them and give them problems like anxiety and depression. And then we are like, कि ये तो सुनते नहीं हमारी इसलिए ऐसे. Thank you, Niru. That was beautiful. Okay, so as Niru, and I would really request, it would be wonderful for me if everyone can be participative in this session. I would love it for people to sort of participate, speak up from time to time. I don't want it to be more like a lecture or anything like that. So, Niru, the way Niru was saying it, children are born perfect. It's we do the damage over the years. A child will laugh when he wants to laugh, will cry when he wants to cry, will ask for food when he's hungry. He's very natural. He's born okay. And then we put a lot of our own ideas into his head कि नहीं, बुरा लग रहा है तो रो नहीं सकते हो, अच्छा लग रहा है तो जोर की मत हंसो, धीरे हंसो, या if you're hungry you shouldn't eat like a greedy pig in front of other people. There's just so many social beliefs that we put on them and we make them unnatural and therefore unhappy. So it is important to remember that children are only born through us. They are not from us. We are just a medium. They are here now. And the best thing we can do to raise children well is to step out of their way and let them do their own raising. While doing that, the only thing we need to do is to provide a safe environment in which they can grow on their own. But we don't have to take control of things. We don't have to feel like, acha, this is project my child, and now I'm going to dedicate my whole life to making this into exactly what I envision it to be. No, it's not your vision. It is the child has its own essence, its own imprint, and it has to flower in its own way. And that's the most important thing to remember. Especially when, if we think about it, please put it in chat for me. I would like to know what is a parent's most important goal for their children. What do we want for our children? Yes. And so we all want happy children, happy child, content child. And then once we have decided, okay, we want a happy and content child, what do? We become fearful. What if he does this and ends up having an unhappy life? What if he takes this decision and becomes an unhappy child? So, what am I going to do? Out of that sense of fear for my child, we end up doing all sorts of things which are done out of fear, which is the worst emotion to act out of. So, fear manifests into ego. And there are only two ways to have any relationship. Either it is taking birth from a place of ego, or it is taking birth from a place of love. And more with our children, we feel कि यहाँ तो हम अपना, we can use our control over here, because this belongs to me. This is the first time I have captive audience. This is the first time this person is actually small and weak, and this is a person who will have to do what I say. So we start exerting our ego and control over our children. And this is done in many ways. Sometimes it's done in a subtle way, sometimes it's done in a not so subtle way. And and most of it has been done to us while we were growing up. So what are the behavioral manifestations of showing ego in our relationship with our children? So most importantly, we will, when we are operating from a place of ego, we will try to control our child through various behaviors. And one of the worst is emotional blackmail. So that manifests in the form of saying, if you care about what I want, then you will do this. Or, like, for instance, my daughter always used to say that I want to grow up and become a designer. And then one day she suddenly said, she was gone for the weekend to her grandparents' place, my mother's place. She comes back 2 days later, she's saying, I want to be a doctor. I've changed my mind. And I instantly knew, it's been planted by my mother. So, and Nani tells her that, if you love, it's my dream to see that one of my children or grandchildren become into a doctor. So I'd love it if you become a doctor. And of course, the emotional blackmail worked beautifully. She comes home and says, I want to be a doctor. Now, little does Nani realize that if she does go on to become a doctor, she's going to be miserable for the rest of her life. And just seeing her miserable will make you miserable. But right now, you're thinking, oh, I'm guiding her in the right direction. I will make her a successful doctor. And that is how I will ensure that she's happy. So, another way is, we feel that we know more than them. Now, just because we've spent more years on this planet, we happen to have been born before them, it does not mean that we know more than them. So we have to realize that, in fact, the chances are, because children are more in touch with their gut feeling, they know better than us. We've already been conditioned by the world around us, but they are not. So there's a lot to be learned from children, like, they don't block their emotions. If they feel like crying, they will cry. Not only that, they will lie down on the floor and have a full blown tantrum and cry loudly. We will block that emotion, we will repress it, and go on to have depression, but we will refuse to cry. So maybe there's a lot to learn from children, rather than imposing that just because I was born before you, I can teach you something. This is just a manifestation of ego, not a manifestation of care or concern. We pretend, oh, I care about you. That's why I'm telling you what to do. No, it is not care. It is control guised in the form of care. Another tool we use to control our kids is what will people say? So, okay, I'm taking an example. I don't know, it may sound a little extreme to some people, but let's say my child is gay. And now I'm saying, oh, but get married to a opposite gender just to show the world that everything is normal in our house. On the side, do whatever you want. Sorry, I've had cases of people telling me that my son is gay, but it's very embarrassing for me that if he starts living in with the boy. So, for the sake of the world, I want him to start living with the girl, get married traditionally. Whatever he wants to do, he can continue to do outside of this. No, you are ruining your son's life and you're ruining that other girl's life. There will be two plus a third miserable person who is waiting for your son to sneak out of the house and come and meet him. And you are thinking, oh, everything is better because the world thinks better of you. You have to prioritize if what the world thinks is more important than how your child is feeling, then how much are you in your ego that you care about what the world thinks about you rather than how your child feels deep down inside. Another place of ego is disrespect towards the children. Now, just because they are younger, how do we presume that we can be disrespectful towards them? We can yell at them, we can talk down towards them, we can even sometimes use physical abuse against them. And in India, it's very normal. एक झांपड़ लगा दिया, एक थप्पड़ लगा दिया. It's very normal. Why? What makes us think we can do something like that, damage and it one slap sometimes can be even less damaging than when we ignore the child, ignore his perspective, or talk down towards the child, acting like their opinion doesn't matter, or act like they don't know anything, or just laugh at their opinion or cut it out. It's completely devaluing the child, giving them the communication that you don't have enough brains for anything anyway. I'm the know it all. And when the parent starts communicating that to the child, it's very deeply ingrained in the child that, yes, if my parent only thinks that I'm dumb, then I must be dumb. Because I remember as a 5, 6, 10-year old, my father was the tallest, largest man on the planet for me. I always see him as that big, muscled guy who can do everything. Only when I grew up, I realized that he's just 5'2". It's shorter than probably any other man on the planet. But for me, he was the tallest, largest man, and anything he said or did meant the world to me. So that's another way of using the ego. Another obvious way is criticism, where we think we are helping the child become better by criticizing the child. But it comes from a need for control, a need for perfectionism. And nothing works like honest praise rather than criticism. I'm not saying praise should be to the point of building up a false self-esteem in the child, but a genuine, honest praise for whatever they are good at, in whichever way. And that's what they are, just complete acceptance of who they are. Instead of saying, no, but you could do better, and then compare. Make it even worse by comparing. So and so's son does this, so and so's daughter does this, so and so's daughter did such a good thing. You, or even not even adding you didn't do it, just saying so and so's daughter, became this and married into this family, blah, blah, blah. You're setting up a comparative tone. But why? Why put that sort of pressure on the child? And one another very important aspect of doing things from a place of ego with our children is finally when we sit there and say, I have sacrificed my whole life for you. What are you doing for me? Now, how pathetic is that? When does love become a transaction? It's not a business deal. Did the child say, please give birth to me, please take care of me, I'm rotting in hell right now, so please give birth to me, then only I'll be better off? No, the child didn't want. What if the child starts asking you, why did you give birth to me, now I have to live this life? It's unnecessary pressure. They didn't ask for this, you did it for yourself. Remember this. Every time we decide to have a child, we decide to have a child because we have a instinct, a paternal instinct that needs to be fulfilled, and that's where it ends. It's not done for the children. And if you're expecting anything else in return, now you should listen to me, now you should take care of me, now you should spend time with me, now you should call me up every day, is just that. It is expectation based out of ego. So it is important to just become aware of the typical things we do when we are acting out of ego in our relationship. Uh, and as a result of this, what happens to our children? What happens is they start becoming frustrated, confused, and angry towards their parents. So the most kids feel, oh, my parents didn't do this right, that's why I'm like this. Oh, my parents brought me up like this, that's why I made so many mistakes. They start blaming. There is so much anger from most children towards their parents. And the parents are also sitting frustrated, saying, oh, they don't do enough of what I asked them to do. But, and when there is all this repressed emotion in the child, what what the result of all this is, because as a 2-year old, he could lie down on the floor and cry. But as a 14-year-old, as a 15-year-old, as a 16-year-old, he's completely confused. He can no longer cry, he can no longer laugh, he can no longer talk without judgment. And he doesn't know what he is. He's not sure. He's not even sure if, your parents are claiming to love him, but it's not feeling like love. It's feeling like a loss of control. So with all that repressed emotions, the child ends up taking up stuff like substance abuse, smoking, drugs, etc. So these are the consequences of raising children through our ego. So we'll take a small break here and have an interactive session before we go on again. I see some questions. How to deal with this full-blown tantrum, Smita. Smita, how old is your child?
Yeah, my son is bigger. He's 20-year-old.
Okay. So then he's still having
But
full.
still, yeah, still this is no, 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 no. He is grown up and he shown tantrum only once that I dealt with it and he no more. But this is a common scenario these days, especially we have only one child or something like so. All over in our families, we are all loving and caring. So the kids are also is in a confusion, right? So yeah, so I thought of asking that.
Full of a full-blown tantrum.
Yeah, tantrums in short.
Okay. So tantrum to me would be something has already gone terribly wrong already for it to have reached that stage of a full blown tantrum. It could have
Mm,
avoided. But let's say, full-blown tantrum at the age of 2 is very common. That's when they do it anyway. You don't have to do much wrong to get a full-blown.
mm,
At any other age, it's probably something else coming out of the child, like a rebellion coming out of some other grouse towards the parent. But on
mm,
most days, I would follow the same rule as I would follow for a 2-year-old. So if the 2-year-old is having a full blown tantrum, I will first look into myself, like, have I done something
mm,
wrong? to have brought him to this place? Did I not give him enough attention when he needed it? Did I not feed him on time? Could he have a relevant point? Because sometimes they do, and we're not getting it, or sometimes it's very small. For instance, once my daughter was 4, we were not in India, so it was a cleaner country, and she just wanted to walk barefoot. So I was holding her chappals, and she was, in fact, her chappals were in the bag, and she was walking barefoot. And I got a lot of judgment for that. There were people passing by who said, "Why are you letting her walk like that?" But that's what she wanted, and I didn't want to tell her, "No, you have to wear shoes right now." No, why? She wants to walk barefoot. I'll let. It's easy to put rules on the child and make your life easier. Because if she had shoes on, then I don't have to watch out for she doesn't step on a stone or she doesn't step on anything that may hurt her. But if I let her do what she wants, then in any case, I will have to be more careful. And that's tougher. To just let the child be, let their freedom be, is tougher. But that's the only way to do it. The only other time I would not give into a tantrum is when the child wants to do something which is 110% unsafe or bad for them. So yeah, like 110% means first I have to see, could I be wrong? So yeah, walking barefoot could be a little unsafe, but not that unsafe. Marrying somebody of their choice, I don't want them to marry that person. Sorry, that's not 110% unsafe. I may think not the same caste, not the same religion, not the same country, not the same race, not the same kind of family. That's my opinion of what is right for the child. That may or may not be right. I have to admit that I may be wrong. Yes, a 2-year-old asking for a big bag of candies, and I know that that much sugar is not okay for him. I will let the tantrum live its life. So, yes, you're welcome to lie down on the floor and cry. Cry for a good 5-10 minutes. You will neither get positive attention nor negative attention. So, I'm not going to give you any more attention. I'm not going to try and bargain. I'm not going to try and give you candies. And I'm not going to give you negative attention. I'm not going to shout at you. I'm not going to say, "Come on, do this, do that." No, nothing. I'm just going to keep going about my business and let the child realize that this tantrum is not going to get them anywhere with me. But that's only if I'm 110% sure. Otherwise, let the child be. I'll give you a very nice example. I just read this recently. So Osho was just at the age of 13, he wanted to try smoking. He saw some boys smoking and all that. So he was like very curious. He wanted to try smoking. So he goes up to his father and says, "Father, I want to try smoking." So his father is shocked. And the father is saying that uh, you have some audacity. You want to smoke. Then you're asking me that, can you smoke because you want to smoke? So Osho says, yeah, I want to smoke. That's one wrong thing. Then if I have to hide from you that and lie to you, that's multiple wrong things. So I just want to keep it at, just tell you and smoke. So father is a little bit more surprised, but sees the logic in this. Then Osho says, also, I don't have the money to buy a good cigar and I want to try a good cigar. So now he's saying, I also want you to organize a good cigar for me. Now, father is completely shocked. He's saying, what is this nonsense? You also want me to organize a cigar for me. So Osho says, yeah, I mean, you don't want me to steal and rob somebody and add another layer of wrong to this. So I think you should buy the cigar from me. So father thinks about it for a day and goes and gets a cigar for Osho and says, okay, here, try it. Osho tries 1 inhalation, 2 inhalation, realizes this is shit. It's making me cough. It's filling my lungs up with smoke. And my father has had to pay for this to destroy my health. He crushes the thing and never touches a cigarette again. It's a very simple story, which gets the point across for every single child. It may seem like, oh my God, the child is asking for something so ridiculous. But let them have it anyway. And chances are when we tell them it's okay, I'm with you, do it. But I'm going to inform you that this has these side effects and I don't think it's the best thing for you. Chances are the child will not do it anyway. But it's only when we create a sense of rebel in them by telling them, no, I don't want you to do it. No, it's like saying, there's a big black dot on the paper, and now everyone's telling you can look at anything, but don't look at the big black dot on the paper. Then obviously that every one of us is attracted to the big black dot on the paper. So it's the same thing with the child. Anything we say no to is, what we are trying to avoid is the most that they are attracted to. And then it becomes a way bigger issue than it ever needed to have been. So would you like to
Yeah.
ask them?
No, I just thought of the, don't think of the pink elephant. The
The
same thing.
elephant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one more thing, if like we can take it later also, if somebody else have questions, they can also ask.
Yeah. Yeah. So should I take the next question now?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. Vivek, I have a query. Difference of opinion between parents and different parenting styles. Yeah, important. Um, one thing is for sure that both the parents need to make sure that whatever the different styles are, they are communicated first with each other, and then the same rule needs to be presented to the child. So you can't be fighting with each other in front of the child over what decision needs to be made about the child. But again, parenting styles would only have a mismatch if you're not letting things flow. So parenting style, there is no parenting style as such. There is, because what I'm trying to say here is that there is less and less to do as a parent. There is, parenting should be about not doing, not parenting. It's like letting go and let the child do what they want to do. In which case there is no style. There's just no doing. It's an act of non-doing. Just let the child grow and evolve. That's it. And that's the only way, only right, only better way of bringing up the child. And even with that, we can't ensure that we'll do it well enough. We will still mess up our children. So Nali is saying, how much freedom is too much freedom or less freedom? How to differentiate? It's very simple. Too much freedom is only when it could become unsafe. And even then, for the most part, we just try to provide them a physically safe atmosphere to do it. And even if with everything, with our trying to provide a safe atmosphere, they end up doing something. There is no such thing as too much freedom in a way, is what I'm trying to say. So if they end up doing something which does hurt them a little bit or does hurt them, then it is their chance to get an experience. And we can't take that away from them. It is not fair to take away their chance to learn about what is safe, what is not safe, what is right for them, what is not right for them, or what works for them and what doesn't work for them. So in that sense, there is no too much freedom. So I don't know, if you give me an example, maybe I can tell you. In my eyes, for example, a child is trying to climb a tree and you think it's unsafe. But if you don't let him climb the tree, you are curbing his natural instinct, curbing his natural curiosity, curbing his sense of freedom. So all I would try to do is be there to hold him if he falls. And if that also doesn't happen, then be there to hold him after he falls. But I'll let him climb the tree. But I would like it if you would like to talk with more examples of what you're
Yeah,
talking.
hi Neha. Yeah. So so these days I'm struggling with my two teenage daughters all at once.
Teenage is
One
that
is one
anyway.
is one is going to be 16, the other one just turned 13. So I think I'm right. Since last 1 year, I can see that I have been facing challenges with the way, the arguments with the kids go, especially with the elder one. And so I asked about the freedom part because so there is, I'll just give you an example. So there are frequent arguments related to the kind of clothes they want to wear, which I, as a parent, if they are going in a certain setting, like again, I know it's coming from conditioning or the way as parents we would think, the kind of clothes they're wearing to a social gathering, to a marriage function, which I would not find very appropriate. But, she would always have an argument that, no, this is what I want to wear. And so this is like just a small example. And these are the points of argument which happen repeatedly. So there are times when I'm like really lost and confused on how to take these forward. And
Yeah.
so it's about freedom only, yeah, in terms of, the kind of clothes they wear or the kind of places they want to go to all by themselves, or, going to guys' houses or anywhere they want. So somewhere it is, there is a lot of confusion that I face as a parent, how much to say yes to and how much should I say no? Because if I say no, then I can clearly see there is a big, you know, negative thing that comes out from the children.
Hmm.
So that's
Okay.
why what my dilemma is these days.
So what anybody wears, especially to a social function, family function, etc., normally a child would themselves know that, okay, I like, let's say I like wearing shorts when I go to the market. But I might think twice, okay, that particular aunt is too judgmental, and maybe I should just avoid wearing shorts to that.
Children will not think these days. I don't think they think like that.
That's the change we need, because then aunt has to adjust. Because why should we prioritize what aunt thinks over what my child wants? And if aunt still has the audacity to comment on what my child is wearing, then again, it is a great learning experience for my child, because she will learn how to handle people who think they have any right to comment upon what my child is wearing.
What if I, as a parent, do not feel okay with the kind of clothes my daughter is wearing?
Which,
I'm not worried about the aunt.
okay, so
Mm.
when she wears XYZ, what part of it bothers you, that people will see and feel that, oh, she's wearing such clothes, or you feel she's unsafe, or you feel
I
it's
feel
you?
she's unsafe. I feel she's unsafe, but she 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 would not understand that. I feel she's unsafe.
Okay, but is she so unsafe to what extent? Again, like, it's the only time I would somewhat intervene is when physical safety is in question, but even then, wouldn't you just tell her that, okay, this unsafe to, like, if I'm in a bus and I'm
Hmm.
wearing, then obviously there's a greater likelihood of me getting my butt pinched.
Yeah.
But isn't that a lesson that I need to learn? I mean, nothing, kuch itna life altering to nahi ho gaya if my butt got pinched. It's not like, it's not severe. But at least I know, and if I'm still okay and I want the world to change by wearing what I want to wear, then that's on me. But if I'm not comfortable with that extra attention, then I won't. But if my mom's gonna tell me don't wear it, then I'm wearing it only to prove to my mom that, see, I can wear it. Even if somebody pinched my butt in the bus, I will come home and say, see, I went in the bus and everything was okay. My butt never got pinched. So then it has already become a matter of proving things to my mom rather than doing what I'm comfortable with. So the more no's a child hears from the mother, the more rebellious they become.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. So otherwise, the child knows what is good and what is right for them, and they will do it anyway. And this is the thing, like, why do children like being with their friends, but they don't like being with their parents? The
That's
parent is not coming from a place of being a friend. The parent is coming from the place of, I'm the parent. I know what is good for you, and I will tell you what is good for you.
mm,
Come from a place of, what do you think about this? Let's explore this. Oh, this didn't work well. Let's not do it again. A friend will even say, oh, I think yesterday we drank too much. We ended up getting a bad hangover. Let's never drink that much again. Friends will say that. A parent will say, don't drink at all.
mm,
But everybody is here to explore the world. Everyone is going to try and explore the world. Let's face it, you know. So if they will do it, hide and do it, that's even worse. That
mm,
is, it's truly an unsafe environment for the child, because now what happens, she wears a short, on top of that she wears loose pajamas, goes out, then takes off the loose pajamas, and then is, or I've seen girls, you know, wearing,
yeah,
I put a big large thing on top,
sure.
put it in the bag. That's worse. That's truly unsafe. But if, and same thing for late nights, going out to guys place, what's the worst that can happen if my 16-year-old is spending the night at a guy's place? Spending the night. I'm not even saying 1 hour. I know it's uh, beyond what you can think right now.
Yeah.
Let me just put it out there for you. Let's say my 16-year-old girl decides to spend the whole night at a guy's place and tells me, I'm going to spend the night at this guy's friend's place. If they are
Mm,
two consenting adults, why do we feel that the girl must be protected from any such interaction, a
good.
physical, but the guy need not be protected? If they are not two consenting as adults, then obviously that's not something we'd wish upon the
Yeah.
world, anybody. And that's something your child needs to be warned against and be very like, no. And they, everybody is smart enough. In one meeting, we know the vibe. We'd not even become friends with a person who is a possible assaulter of that kind.
Mm,
We're listening
correct.
to and trusting ourselves anyway. But if I'm already in the mind frame of
That's
rebelling
one.
against mom and proving to her that I can go anywhere, then I'm more likely to mess up.
Mm,
Otherwise, it's just a mindset. Even virginity is just a mindset issue. There's no big deal about preserving my virginity or anybody's virginity at any age.
right.
And I mean, what are we? I don't know. I mean, that's a long subject, but
I know, I know.
so yeah, there's nothing.
Yeah.
We are, I think, in that case, in that particular thing, we are worse with the girls,
Mm, I
but they're,
know.
as the boys, they have the same needs as the boys, and they should be allowed to explore their needs and wants and desires. Why is it a matter of shame to have needs? And why can't we as parents allow them to explore their needs? And then if we don't allow, so that's what happens when we don't allow, and the girl will say, okay, I'm going to such and such girl's place. Now we don't
Mm,
know which boy's place
which
she's at.
was, yeah.
And God forbid something happens. She comes home, she's not even going to tell us, because now she has
Yeah.
the idea on her head that I've lied to my mother. Now I can't tell her that I went to such and such guy's place and he misbehaved with me. I'll only get a shouting instead of support from my mother. So
Mm,
important thing is to become a friend and explore options. Kuch nahi hoga, you know. As long as you're not dying from it, explore it.
Mm. Got it. Mm.
So that brings us to bringing up the parents, bringing up the children with love. And how do we do it? Okay, one more thing, Sonali.
Yeah.
How do you feel about how you were parented by your parents, how you were brought up by your parents?
I had been a very obedient kid. As a kid, I've been very, very obedient.
And they told you what to do, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I think somewhere I'm coming from that conditioning. I see that. I know I see that. I see that clearly. I try not to repeat that pattern with my children, but I'm sure there are still, some deep-rooted conditioning behaviors that come naturally when you are with your kids.
Yeah.
And
So
I make a note of that, and I do introspect on that, all on all those things. But now, because since I was facing this issue, I just thought, let me just,
consciously we repeat the same patterns as our
yeah, parents. Yeah.
repeated the same pattern as their parents, and they have
Mm.
repeated. It's what they call uh, gen-
Generational thing. Yeah, I know.
and our biggest gurus, as they say, are people that we have a relationship with and our children. So people that we have a relationship with will bring out all the issues we faced as children with our parents, and they will replicate our parents' behavior towards us. While with our children, we replicate the same behavior that we actually shunned in our parents towards us. So we
Mm.
grew thinking, oh my God, my parents are so controlling. And yet, in our own way, we want to control our kids. And then the ego is satisfied. See, she can't do anything. She can't
Yeah.
decision without asking me first. So much ego.
Mm.
But I hated the same behavior growing up. So until we stop hating that behavior from our parents and accept it lovingly, it is and that's where I was coming to the point that we don't have to raise the children, we only have to raise ourselves. But the more we are healed, the easier it is to have a good relationship with literally anybody. Relationships are, they all follow the same rules, all especially the close
Mm.
relationship. And our healing, of course, depends on the work we do and how we understand our relationship with our parents is the extent to which we are healing ourselves, and that will automatically affect every other relationship we have in this world. But the ones that really matter are, of course, the ones with our close knit family.
Mm.
And we will notice that if we are struggling with one relationship, we'll probably be struggling in all relationships, and there'll be a similar issue cropping up in maybe opposite ways. So maybe I'm feeling that my spouse is very controlling towards me, but I'm very controlling towards my children. Or sometimes it in the same way, I'm quite controlling towards my spouse and I'm quite controlling towards my children. And I hated it when my parents were controlling towards me. So, but the
Mm.
healing, the raising, you are not, you don't have to raise the children. You only have to raise yourself. Just notice why you are triggered when your children want to do certain things. Ask yourself this: what in me is triggered when my children want to wear certain clothes, want to go out to certain places, want to go out at certain time? Which part of me is triggered and why? The part which feels the need to control.
Mm.
Where did that part come from? Most of the times you can relate it to your own childhood. And
Yeah, that's how you'll relate it to.
yeah, that controlled in my childhood. And now unwittingly I'm passing that on. And also to to be able to say to your children that I don't know everything, I don't have all the answers, I was born a few years earlier than you, and that doesn't make me wiser, better, smarter, nothing. You can ask me a question, I may not have the answer, I'm going to try, I'm here. And I have made mistakes in everything, including bringing you up. And the most important thing for a parent to do, if you can't do it, it's okay. Then it will be left for the child to forgive you anyway. But the most important thing for a parent to do is to actually remove the ego, go up to the child and just apologize. Apologize for all the ways in which we've messed them up. And we've all messed them up. Nobody's an exception.
Yeah.
We can try our best. We have to mess them up because we are messed up. Everybody's messed up. But just giving them that closure, going up to them and saying, I am your parent, and you always thought I'm perfect, but I'm not. I'm just a few years older than you. I have my own issues, and I'm sorry I passed on some of them to you despite my best intentions. I hope you can forgive me for that and
Yeah.
teach me. Give me feedback. What can I do better going forward?
Mm.
So, a very important goal of being a good parent is to be so good that you've risen children who are so independent because you've given them enough freedom growing up that they start to think of you as more and more irrelevant. Because it's very easy to get satisfaction from the fact that, oh, she came to me for this advice, she needed me for this. But are they resilient enough to live on this planet with all its difficulties and be okay? That's a good job done.
Yeah, I
And
think in that sense, I think I've raised them like that. That's how I feel, They've been very, very independent and
that, that they are not giving in to all your, is a good sign because at least they are speaking up.
yeah, yeah, that I can see. They are not dependent for anything on me. So, and I'm quite okay with that, I'm pretty okay with that.
Mm.
Though I see other mothers, how their children are so dependent on their mothers for so many things, and my daughters are not at all like that.
Yeah, that is so nice because mm, that's the see for most animals, the kid is born, they immediately start walking and they're pretty much on their own. Little bit for a while they might want to feed their kids, and that's where it ends. Humans are only so attached, and human kid of course needs the parent for a few more years. But that's what, will you tell your 2-year-old child or 1-year-old child don't walk or you'll fall? No, no, the child will
Mm.
walk. He will fall. He will fall a few times. You will try and make sure he's trying his first few walks on the carpeted area so that or there's no bump on the head. So you'll remove the furniture or you'll soften the edges. But you will let him walk, you will let him fall. And that's the only way he will learn how to walk. And the same rule applies to everything else in life. Let them walk, let them fall. But it's their own learning to do. But if you're going to be like so overprotective that, oh, I'm going to put my child in a child safe chair, and after this I'm not going to let him walk till he's 3, because when he's 3 he'll be able to straight away walk properly without falling, then it's detrimental to the child. So everything is exploration for the child. At various ages the exploration is of a different,
Mm.
and they need to go through that. We can't protect them and we shouldn't. They need to figure it out ki ha yaar, and when we limit our no's, then when we tell them, all I want is the best for you. So I'm going to tell you, let's say one thing, that do whatever you want, but let's say I feel smoking and drinking are injurious to health, and I wouldn't want you to go on that path simply because it's bad for your health and not because it's a rule, then chances are they will listen to that because they've never heard their parents make any rules anyway. So this is a matter of concern that the parent has brought up. So it's easier to listen to the parent for the child also. But we have to create an environment where they want to listen to you because you come across as a genuine friend, as an authentic friend, a fallible friend. Any other questions, please?
Yeah, thank you, Neha.
Thank you. Anybody else would like to go for a question? We only have like 8 participants today, so. Divya, hi, would you like to ask something? Okay, I think no more questions then. So yeah. Or is the 1 hour over? Or should I speak more? Over, no?
It's 7:56. If you have more points, you can listen. I will happy to.
Hi Neha, Divya here.
Hi, Divya.
Sorry, my phone was not working. So
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
Neha, I have a question. My elder son, he's 13-year-old and younger one, 10-year-old. So I understand there would be, infatuations and everything. I have seen few, letters also, girls writing to him. I just want to teach him that, I believe girls are emotionally driven always from childhood, right? I want to teach my son how to take care of that and how to not misuse or disrespect. Because that girl will write long letters, but my son will never write those letters to her. Right? He might think, ye to likhti rehti hai, girls are like that. But I want him to respect that feeling and deal with grace.
Again, I think everyone needs to do what is coming naturally to them. And the role of the parent is to stay out of it.
But how to guide them?
Guide them only to be kind to people is something. It's children may not always listen to what you say, but children will all watch what you do. And so the big way to teach them anything is by example. And kindness is something that they observe in their parents. It may not necessarily be for your partner, it may be for anybody else, but they will notice that, oh, my mother shows kindness when she speaks to the waiter, my mother shows kindness when she speaks to the staff house, and they will pick up on it. And most importantly, whatever said and done, they pick up from the mother. Then they pick up from the father.
Yeah.
And they pick up from every family member, but they will pick up from the mother. And there's no way around. They will pick up from the parents.
Okay.
So it's lead by example for kids. Anything you can keep, ye hona chahiye, we should do this, we should do that. I can keep saying, don't eat junk, it's bad for health. And in front of them, if I keep sitting and having chips, sorry, my kids are also going to dig into the same packet of chips. But if I don't even once say that you shouldn't eat junk, but I'm always eating or mostly eating healthy snacks around them, digging into fruits, digging in, automatically my kids also start saying, yeah, this is tasty. I'd also like to have some. So it's what sanskaras are built into children through what they watch in the family. And we don't have push them either way. Like maybe, you don't know, maybe he doesn't really care about, let's say, this particular girl. And so it's not coming from within him to,
Hmm.
not an act of kindness. Love is not an act of kindness. Love is something that either happens or it doesn't. So let him decide, the day he is truly
Yeah.
attracted to, or truly likes a girl, he will find his own way of
Hmm.
then again, everybody's love language is different. So somebody might like to write long letters, and another person shows it in a different way. It doesn't have to be the same.
Okay.
So, you might
Yeah.
like to husband, and he might like to buy vegetables for you.
Hmm. Okay. Got it. Thanks.
Thank you. So, thank you very much. Lovely session. Had fun. Thank you for being so interactive.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time, Neha. Thanks a lot.